and Happy New Year, folks. Welcome back. I am so happy to be back in my kitchen with another week of meal kits. So welcome, my name is Emily. I'm the registered dietitian here at Harvest Market, and every week I put out a new recipe, a new meal kit, something delicious, something semi-quick typically, and maybe something different for you. So this week I am starting the year off with something really fresh and really flavorful, lots of veggies, lots of good stuff. I'm excited to share it with you. So we are going to be doing some stuffed poblano peppers with kind of a Tex-mex style filling. It's going to be so delicious. It comes together pretty quickly as well. And let's get started. So first things first, what we're going to be using are these beautiful poblano peppers. So poblanos are great because they're nice and long. They're typically a good size for stuffing. And yeah, there's something a little bit different. They're not as harsh to me as green bell peppers. Sometimes that can be like really green tasting. When we cut these guys open, you'll see that the skin is pretty thin. So the pepper itself is pretty thin. So it has a really nice kind of texture on the outside. They're not super spicy, so this is a great option for folks with kids, for folks that don't really like a lot of heat. The great part is you can totally add in more heat later on. We'll talk about that later as we get into the recipe. But first, let's get started with our poblanos, because we got to get these popped in the oven so that they can cook a little bit and get a little soft. So this is your poblano. I just wiped it off. I just rinsed it under water, wiped it off, just in case there's any, dirt, whatever. So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna keep the stem intact because it kind of holds the pepper together when we open it up, and I like the way it looks. It's a visual thing, really. It's for aesthetics. If you want to cut it all off, you certainly can. But what we're gonna do is, you see that there's kind of like a wide side to the pepper, and then there's like a thin side to the pepper. So we're gonna cut along the thin side right here so that when we open it up, we get kind of two bigger pieces. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take that thinner side, we're gonna cut lengthwise with a nice sharp knife right down the middle there. So then we open it up, you get these two really nice sized pieces that are going to be great for stuffing. Okay, there's one. So this serves, I am doing a 2-person kit, so each person will get essentially a whole pepper or 2 halves. Okay, so here we are, just like this. We're going to simply pull out the seed bundles. I'm not concerned about touching them. This is not like a jalapeno pepper where it's going to be really spicy on your fingers. Now, that's not to say you won't get some poblanos that maybe will have a little bit more spice than others, but typically speaking, poblanos are mild peppers. If you look at the Scoville scale of heat, poblanos are down really close to bell peppers, which are at the bottom, and then poblanos are a little bit above that, but still very mild. So we pulled out the seeds. This is what it's gonna look like here. Okay, so we can discard that. Now what we're gonna be doing is placing these guys on a little sheet pan here. I've got my oven preheated to 425, and we're just gonna par cook these. So they're gonna finish cooking when we put the filling in. We stick everything into the oven later on, but I wanna get them just a little bit more softened. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay these guys, I'm gonna lay them cut side down first. And we're just gonna give a little spray with cooking spray. So use cooking spray if you wanna use a little bit of oil, just something to kind of help the cooking process along. Get it a little nice and brown on the outside. So we're gonna give that a spray, and then we're gonna flip them over just like this and give them another spray. Okay, and then these guys are ready for the oven. I'm gonna quick pop them in, again, 425-degree oven for about 10 minutes. So while our peppers are cooking off in the oven, don't forget about them, please set a timer. Let's go ahead and get started on the filling. So I've got my skillet preheated here. This is just a nice nonstick skillet. I'm going to get the veggies started sauteing. So, oh, and the meat. Okay, so for this meal kit, you have the option of getting ground turkey, beans, or a little bit of both. I'm gonna do a little bit of both because I like them both. So we're gonna be doing a ground turkey, and you can hear a little sizzle. My pan is preheated, so I'm gonna go ahead and get my turkey in there. We just want like a medium heat on this, just to start cooking. Kind of break that up a little bit if you can. And then we're just really going to prep all the veggies and toss them in. Prep and toss, prep and toss. And then before we know it, our filling is gonna be finished in one skillet, which is great. Okay, so we're gonna do the onion, and we're just gonna do a nice dice on all the veggies. Remember, we're doing a filling here, so we want to make sure that everything is small because we're gonna be filling it together, and I kind of want everything to be in one nice kind of homogeneous mixture so that we can scoop it up with a spoon and then stuff our poblanos really easily. So make sure that you just take the time to do a nice fine dice on everything. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do a dice, gonna cut some horizontal, then vertical, not all the way through so it stays intact. Whoop, slippery slidey sucker. And then cut it this way for a nice dice. Sometimes you get that onion with the skin on the outside that's just super slippery and it doesn't want to stay together. This is a great one. I love this dish. It's just full of veggies and it's so adaptable. So if there are veggies that you don't like or that you really like, you can kind of throw it in and it just cooks up beautifully. It's a great, really all-purpose filling. You can stuff anything with this filling that you want, whether it be a taco or a green bell. I think poblanos are fun because they're something we typically don't usually have maybe on an everyday basis, and they're delicious. So it doesn't look like a whole lot of turkey right here, but remember I'm doing a 2-person and I'm also doing half and half. So I'm doing part beans as well. And really, you guys will be so surprised at how much this bulks up when we add all of our veggies in here. It's just fantastic. Okay, so this looks pretty good to me. I'm really just looking for almost all the way cooked through. So this is gonna keep cooking in the pan, no big deal. We're just gonna kind of push it off to the side and we're gonna start adding the veggies in. So I'm gonna go ahead and add the oil to my pan. And then we're gonna add the onion here. Beautiful. And that's gonna get starting to smell really good, really soon. Okay, so I like to kind of swap out once my meat is cooked. I like to swap out my cooking utensils just because this has the raw meat on it. Food safety, folks, you know, food safety. Okay, give that a little stir and just let it saute. We're gonna let it do its thing. And then we're gonna go ahead and get started on the rest of the veggies here. So we are gonna open our little bag, and I always have trouble opening these bags. They just close so well, which is great. You don't want anything falling out. We're gonna take out the cilantro, we're gonna set that off to the side. We got zucchini, we got some garlic, red bells, and then we have some mushroom. So if you have any little dirt pieces on your mushrooms, just go ahead and wipe them off with a paper towel, no big deal. A little dirt never hurt anybody. They do grow from the ground, so what do we expect, folks, you know? Lovely. Okay. So now we're just gonna go ahead and work to chop everything up. And really, once you chop stuff up, you can add it right into the pan. You don't have to wait on it. You can just add everything right to the pan. So I'll start with things that are a little bit more dense that maybe need a longer time to cook. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with my red bell pepper. And we're gonna do some long slices this way. Nice and thin so that when we cut it on the other side this way, we get a nice dice on here. You can always run your knife through as needed. Again, we just want things nice and small. Beautiful, beautiful. Give a rough chop through here. Just catch any of those big pieces that escaped the knife. Looking good. Oh, it's already smelling really good too. Okay, add this to the pan. And you can give everything a big stir together when you add things in, so that everything gets a little bit of contact with one another and with the bottom of the pan as well. Excellent. This already smells so good, you guys. Oh, we didn't even add any of the spices in yet. Okay, now we're gonna do zucchini. And I'm just gonna do some really kind of thin slices along here so I can get these kind of long, thin pieces just like this. This will help me get a nice fine dice. And then I'm gonna do some little sticks this way. And then we turn it. I know it's kind of far away, but bear with me. We turn it, and then this will give us a dice on our zucchini. Lovely. Oh gosh. Smelling so good. We want a nice steady sizzle going here. Adjust the heat as necessary. And don't forget about your poblanos, okay? Hopefully you set a timer. They only need about 10 minutes in the oven, and then just set them aside. Okay, again, same thing on this side. You know, and we want to take our time so that we get the desired results. We do it right the first time. We don't have to go back and correct ourselves on the chopping. Excellent. Nice little teeny tiny cubes of zucchini. Right in. Gather it up. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and add in our mushrooms. I love mushrooms. Love, love, love them. You know, not until just a year or two ago did I like them raw. I only liked them cooked. I hated raw mushrooms, but taste change, you know? That happens. You never know. Tastes change. And that's okay. All right, so I'm just running the tip of my knife through here. I love cutting mushrooms because they're just so easy to cut. And then we can just do a big run through with our knife here. Mushrooms are a great vegetable for kids to practice because they can use like a plastic knife or even a butter knife because they're so soft, and they can learn proper cutting techniques and proper knife holding. Yeah, it's a great one. Look at how much our filling has just grown, and we're not even done yet with putting everything in here. Oh yeah, we're getting a nice brown on some of our veggies. That's what I'm looking for. That's flavor. That is flavor right there. Okay. Everything is dispersed beautifully. Now I'm gonna mince up the garlic and add that in there. I don't want to add it too soon so that it you know, has a chance to burn. We don't want it to burn. What's going to happen though is the other veggies, especially when we add in our seasoning. I just got kind of a nasty part there. Just cut it away. No big deal. When we add our seasoning contains salt. This salt is going to pull moisture from the vegetables, and that is going to really help the garlic not to burn at all. When that happens, when there's a little bit of moisture added to the pan, plus a ton of other veggies in there, it doesn't have as much contact with the bottom of the pan, so we don't have to worry about it burning as much. So that's the other thing too, is when you're cooking vegetables, especially mushrooms, and you want them to brown well in the pan, let them brown first before adding any seasoning, because as soon as we do, mushrooms are very, very water heavy, and so once we add any type of seasoning, ooh, I'm getting a veggie facial. Anytime we add any seasoning with salt in it, it's gonna automatically pull out any moisture. And so if we want browning to happen, we wanna reduce as much moisture as possible. And so wait on adding the seasoning until we have a good brown, which I think we do. We really, really do. Just break up any big pieces of the meat, which is fully cooked at this point, And then we're gonna go ahead and add the seasoning mix here. And we have some cumin, coriander, salt, pepper, and paprika. Very simple. As soon as it hits the pan, it's gonna smell like a taco. It's gonna smell really yummy. And we do want to bloom these spices, meaning that we wanna put it in a pan with a little bit of fat and heat, so that we can really awaken all of the aromatics and the oils and all of that good stuff that makes it taste so yummy. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this saute for about 5 to 8 minutes. Again, don't forget about your poblano peppers, and I'll meet you right back here. Okay, so my veggies have cooked down beautifully. You see how nice and brown everything is? That's what we're looking for. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna pump up the heat just slightly, because we're gonna add our red wine vinegar, and we want this to kind of deglaze the bottom of the pan, meaning it's gonna pull up off those beautiful brown bits up off the bottom and add them to the filling. So we wanna crank up the heat, so I'm listening for that sizzle, because when we pour this in, we want it to kind of and pull everything up, okay? So we'll give this a stir. We want to use our cooking utensil to, again, kind of pull everything off the bottom. Ooh, that vinegar is gonna hit your nose, watch out. So we want to just cook that down for about 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds. And in the meantime, last thing I gotta chop up is my cilantro. So we're gonna do half of the cilantro in, and then I'm just gonna leave a little bit out for the topping, because I think it looks really nice on top. So this will be ready. That's the only thing, again, that we have to chop up in the end. So when that red wine vinegar is cooked down and it's no longer in the bottom of the pan, it's kind of absorbed into everything, you can go ahead and toss in your corn and your beans if you're using beans. I love pinto beans. I know so many kind of Tex-Mex or Mexican recipes call for black beans. I like black beans, but I love pinto beans. So that's what I'm using, because they're my favorite. They're so delicious. To me, they really just go really well with all the flavors. They're reminiscent of refried beans, since that's what refried beans are typically made from, is pinto beans. And I just think it tastes really good. Okay, at this point in time, we can really turn off the heat, because everything else is cooked and it's still hot. We're gonna add in the little bit of tomatoes and any juice, and just kind of stir that in. And if you want, you know, you can cook off any of the juice. If there's like kind of some wetness in the bottom of your pan from any of the tomatoes or the veggies, anything like that, you can just kind of cook it off a little bit. But I'm looking really good. We just don't want it we don't want our filling too wet for when we add them to the peppers. Okay, so we're gonna add in just half of the cheese. We're gonna save the rest for topping. And this really just kind of helps everything stick together. Not only does it give it really, really good flavor, so that you get cheese on the inside as well as the outside, but it really kind of helps to kind of hold everything together nicely. So when we put it in our peppers, it stays there. And then I'm gonna add in half of the cilantro, because I like the way it tastes in everything. If you have folks that are picky about cilantro, maybe some people in your household like it, some people don't, that is fine, leave it out, and you can always just put it on top. So then again, my heat is off, but the residual heat from the pan is going to just melt that cheese. And look at that, that's our filling. So stinking tasty. It's just a really good all-purpose filling for really anything. Even like if you want to put this over nachos and put cheese on top, if you want to put it in a taco, anything you want. We're putting it in poblanos today though. All right, I'm gonna go grab my peppers and I'll be right back. Okay, I have my gorgeous peppers right here. They are, you know, par cooked. And if you find that there's any liquid kind of in the bottom, you can just shake it out. These luckily aren't too bad. I think these have a little bit less water than your typical like bell pepper. So we're just gonna take a scoop of this. And I've got a big spoon, and we're just gonna kind of work to fill up each of these peppers. And I'm going to use my spoon to just kind of like smoosh it in there, for lack of a better term. Smoosh it. So I'm really going to fill up the top where it's, you know, there's a bigger section to fill. And then we'll just put a little bit down at the bottom here. Just like that. Beautiful. Fill up each little pepper. So you might have extra filling that can't fit in your peppers. Oh darn. Again, do whatever you want with it. Eat it while the poblanos cook if you're hungry. Save it for later. Put it in a taco. Dip it with nachos. I don't care. It's your filling. You do what you want with it. Okay. So I've done a better job filling these before. Maybe not so much today, but whatever. They look beautiful to me. Okay. So then we're going to take the rest of our cheese and we're going to sprinkle it on top of each one so it gets nice and melty schmelty. A lot of cheese. Woo! Ta-da! Beautiful. These are ready for the oven. So we're gonna do, gonna keep that 425 heat for just about 10 minutes. Everything is cooked here, so we're really just looking to heat it all through together and melt the cheese. So keep an eye on it. It might only be about maybe 8 to 10 minutes. Be right back. So in the meantime, while your peppers cook, if you are a person that ordered or purchased the little crema that kind of drizzles on top, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to do that really quick here. So I'm just gonna empty the contents of the crema ingredients of the crema cup into a dish. And we are going to zest some lime because this is a lime crema, so we want that lime flavor really to be imparted in this. And so we're just going to use a little zester. For a small cup, which is what I have, I'm going to be doing just about half of this lime. Zesting half and then using half of the juice as well. So what is in here? We have just some sour cream, a little bit of olive oil based mayo, some white balsamic vinegar. That is it. And then we're adding all the flavor here by zesting some lime. Remember, if you really, really, really want to impart flavor from citrus like lemon, lime, orange, you want to use the zest. And then we're going to cut this in half, and then we're going to squeeze in half a lime's worth of juice. Save the rest of the lime for serving. I like to squeeze it over my poblanos. And then we're just going to kind of give this a little mix. If you need to add more, if you need to add a little bit of water to make this drizzleable, I think that's a word I invented. I don't know. I haven't Googled it. But go ahead and do that because really we want this to kind of be able to drizzle off the end of a spoon or this knife. So maybe just like a couple teaspoons. That's really all we're looking for of water. Add to this. Okay, but then that is done, and that is going to be served over the top of our poblano peppers. Okay folks, I just pulled our peppers from the oven. They're piping hot and they're so melty, ooey gooey, cheesy, delicious. They smell so good. Okay, so I'm going to, let's see, I have a teaspoon available, so I'm going to use this. My other spoons are dirty. I'm just gonna drizzle some of this crema on top. Use the rest for serving. I think I added a little too much water to this. It's a little too liquidy, but still delicious. And then we can add, sprinkle on the rest of our cilantro. Hold on, I'm gonna get you a close-up view of this beautiful deliciousness. Just have to get my other oven mitt because these are still so hot. I literally just pulled them out. Again, look at that. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. It's delicious, it's full of veggies, but it's cheesy and warm and great for this cooling weather that we're finally getting. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy this recipe. If you're not eating this, I hope you're eating something equally as delicious. I'll see you guys next time.